Hi, this is Steve Anderson. My website is Apologia. It is a repository of recorded audio/video conversations with many of my Facebook friends. Today, I am speaking with Geraldine Thibodeau and Daniel Bush. They are professional pool and billiard streamers. I am speaking to them from Los Angeles, California. Please enjoy my conversation with my friends Geraldine Thibodeau and Daniel Bush.
하지 마 네가 그럴 때마다 미칠 것 같아 내 눈을 보며 살짝 웃어주면 달려가서 너를 알아버릴 것만 같아 하지마
Today, can you see me?
Yeah, hi, Steve. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How's weather out in California? In Michigan, we're about 45 degrees.
Well, I don't want to brag, but let's just say it's not 45. It's been really nice. We've had an interesting season. You know, the winter here was really wet for the first time in probably 9 years, and we've had a long drought. And you know, knock on wood, we've been blessed with tons of wet weather. But lately it's been dry, and I've been expecting it to get really hot, but it hasn't. We did use the air conditioner once last week, but other than that, you know, it's been smooth sailing. It's been nice, but not 45.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been doing these talks on my website, record them on my website, and so it's been a lot of fun. And let's get right into it. And
Sure.
maybe you can just start out taking a couple of minutes, you and Geraldine, and explain what got you into the streaming of pool tournaments.
Well, what got me into it? I have some media experience. I worked in internet radio.
Oh, okay.
I did some video production stuff back in early 2000s. I worked for an internet radio station, so I had some experience with streaming. And you know, thanks to the couple of bosses that I had at that company, it was called soundbreak.com. I was also given the gift of you know, like some of the opportunities that were made available, which was, you know, like just freedom to explore the video production side of it.
Okay.
You know, freedom to learn about the editing systems and the live editing as well, with camera switching when you're doing live streaming. And you know, I was grateful for that job, but that company folded. You know,
Okay.
after the .com, you know, bubble burst in
Sure,
like
sure.
2003. So you know, I also, after that, I worked in entertainment still. I worked for several years, but I got out of it. I got out of it because I just didn't want to, I just didn't feel like I was getting anywhere climbing up a corporate ladder. I was still showing up every day to a cubicle, and you know, just being a pool player, showing up to a cubicle every day just didn't sound or you know, just didn't seem you know, it wasn't helping me. It wasn't helping my creativity, and I'm a creative person. I like to think I'm a creative person.
Well, the first time I had conversation with you, as I recollect, is back in 2012. There was a 3-cushion tournament in California. I think it was in, well, perhaps San Diego, maybe.
No, no, it was the Hard Times, the USBA Open,
Oh, there you go.
2012. Yeah, $7,500 added, and
Oh, cool.
I think it was Sosa or Luis Miguel Avila and Pedro were in the finals. Yeah, I remember that. And
Oh,
that's where
okay. Go ahead.
and that's where you and I met.
There you go. Okay. All right.
Through
Yep.
through that. But
Yeah,
I guess
fantastic.
to make a long story short, I got out of entertainment for several years, and I started working at a pool hall as a bartender, just, trying to find myself a little bit and really,
Sure.
really pursuing my passion for pool. I wanted to become a professional pool player back in, 2006. And I met Max Eberly. I met, I got reacquainted with Tang Ho. And I met a lot of the players at Hollywood Billiards and got reacquainted with Jeff Bay, the owner of Hollywood Billiards, because I knew Jeff Bay back from 1989 when I used to play pool.
Oh, okay.
And when I was a bartender at this pool hall, I just wanted to make pool my life. I like really, whether or not I became a pro or whether or not, I just worked as a houseman, I just wanted pool to be in my life.
Sure.
And cue sports for that matter, because I loved snooker as well. I was a big snooker fan. Now, three cushion wasn't really a part of my life at all. And then something happened where I had a motorcycle accident, and the doctor told me that bartending is carrying 50-pound bags of ice and exchanging kegs in a huge kegs are not going to be good for my injuries.
No, I suppose not.
Yeah, and then at the same time, ESPN was pulling a lot of like billiard events from television, and live streaming started to come to the surface. You had guys like the Action Report with Justin Collett,
Okay.
who was doing these like monthly pay-per-view events, these big action matches, and that mixed, the combination of that and the visiting tournaments at Hollywood Billiards, just kind of gave me the inspiration to get back into it, because I knew all along I knew how to do this. Like I didn't know what it was going to take to get there at that point, but I knew like if I could just have the opportunity to do that, I would put my heart into it, and that's what I did.
Well, which brings
with some help away. So I had some help as well.
Well, that certainly makes a difference, which kind of leads to the next question. Did you ever envision now, after you've gone through this process, and you have so many tournaments under your belt, both of you, did you ever expect to have such a positive impact on pool and 3C? I think you've done I come from the 3C background, so I see the product you do for those tournaments, and I've seen you in pool tournament streaming too, and you do an excellent job. Did you ever foresee being able to do this for your life's work?
When I launched POVPOOL, I really started to feel like I found my niche. I didn't grow into it very quick. Like I had some stumbling blocks as far as, there was a whole bunch of stuff I didn't sign up for. I didn't know how to be a commentator. I didn't know how to multitask the way you had to as a one-man show, or with the numbers, with the cameras and the digital scoring, and then you got a chat room, and that's part of why Geraldine came along as well, because I needed marketing help on a pay-per-view event, and I knew that pay-per-view was a big deal. Like I had to actually, you know, free stream is something completely different than a pay-per-view. You've got to really satisfy your customers when they're paying money to watch a quality event and a quality show. And so Geraldine, you know, like we were friends at the time. We knew what, a couple of years we knew each other. We knew each other for a couple of years, and I said, you know, would you like to do some marketing help and basically, what'd you do? Like technical support, basically.
Sure.
Right. And she came on board, and then like from then on, you know, not only did we hit it off,
but that goes without saying.
Right. But I discovered very quickly how talented she was with just marketing in general, and the technical side of it, and not only that, she was so grounded that, like, you know, when I had a tendency to kind of get too excited or too anxious, she would always bring me down and remind me that, you know, to keep an even keel. And, you know, I'm grateful for Geraldine, man. Like, you know, POVPOOL would not be what it is today if it wasn't for Geraldine. You know, like,
well, do you concur with that, Geraldine? You haven't said much yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole reason why he brought me on was the technical and the marketing side, and the relationship that developed, aside from romantic relationship, but the relationship that we developed was for the passion of pool and developing what he had started with. You know, where do we take, how do we take POVPOOL to the next level? What do we do next? And it was just a matter of conversations that would last hours, you know, us discussing, whoa, what's this next idea we could do?
Sure.
You know?
Yep. And not only that, we were blessed by the fact that we still had gig after gig after gig after gig. So while we were, you know, really kind of putting our heads together to figure it out, we would still have that show coming up next week. What are we going to do with this show? What are we going to do with this show?
Right.
You know? So it was that sort of like evolution. And we've since slowed down. Like I there's no way, I don't know. I don't think I could handle 35 gigs in a year anymore. Could I?
So that's what you were doing, was about 35, right?
It's quality. What's that?
I'm sorry. So you were doing approximately 35 gigs a year. Is that what I heard? Yeah, that's heavy duty. Yeah.
I would do hard times, you know, first weekend at least 6 times a year, and so that's every month, you know, six months out of 12 months, and then we had you know, California Billiards, Chet Ito, that went on for like 3 years, and then he would want to do the West Coast Challenge, that went on, you know, which the West Coast Challenge became the West Coast Swing, which you know, with Chris Swart at California Billiards, and then now we've got it coming up this month. I'll have done seven Cole Dixons in a row, seven years of Cole Dixon tournaments in June, June 20. Yeah, so I mean, and then, you know, there were also like these one-off gigs that would come up. You know, I worked with Mark Griffin one year to do the BCA stream, and then I've done
the Andy Mercer.
Yeah, the Andy Mercer in Las Vegas, which is a huge.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, that's
absolutely.
Like that's a special gig for me. I really like that gig.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've seen that. That's very good. You do a nice job there. Well, let's time is going so fast here.
Sorry.
Additional equipment. What do you see adding to your stream going forward, or are you pretty well set and everything's locked in and you're good to go?
I don't know. Are we all set?
You know, technology. is consistently evolving. So with that, you know, cameras always need to be upgraded, equipment always needs to be upgraded, and it's a matter of decisions of going wireless and whether we want to do that, and it's more than just, you know, yes, we may need or we may want to upgrade cameras, but do we want to stay wired for the consistency, or would we rather try out do wireless cameras, or
Sure.
so yeah, there's always the equipment. Every year we compile a list of things that we want or need equipment wise, and you know, some of it comes, some of it doesn't, and it's just you know, everlasting list.
How about
I mean-
miking? How about miking the players?
Well, we already have that. We do that once in a while.
Oh,
That's
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's tough, not on the technical side, but rather on the player side. Not a lot of players actually talk while they play. We've even mic'd up teams for Scotch doubles, and we still don't get the vocal commentary that we
Oh,
want.
okay. Yeah, you'd think there'd be some crosstalk since you're playing Dutch doubles, and you'd think you'd be communicating with each other. But even then, there wasn't much, huh?
Well, sometimes there is. Sometimes there is. Sometimes there isn't. You know, I think when it comes to wiring the players, I think that's more of a produced situation. I think it's more of like, you're going to get two players and you're going to encourage them to communicate with each other.
Right.
Even on a singles basis, you know.
I think where it works out well is when it's actually instructional. So we had like, I believe it was in January, Mason Shuni did instruction for three cushion, and I thought he did a great job, especially being on the mic when we work with Florian Kohler, and he does his trick shots. It works well with him because they're putting on a show. It's a show to be put on. But I think a lot of players, they still aren't there as far as like, this is entertainment. They're there to entertain.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I did watch the Mason, and what I liked about it is it wasn't like a Florian Kohler doing trick shots. It was systems, and you know, if you hit with this angle, you're going to end up here. And you know, a lot of three cushion players like to learn systems, and I thought he did an excellent job. So I thought that was a good thing to do. Well, let me ask you, interviewing, are you thinking of doing more in-depth interviews with some of the top players? What are your thoughts going forward on that? I know I like interviewing players. I like to find out what equipment they're using, the cues, the ounces, the tip, the taper of the shaft, the whole shebang, tournaments that they've played in. Is that something that you two may see you doing going forward?
Okay, so you're kind of asking two different questions, really. You know, interviews with players. I'm just gonna say yes on that, and we do have plans. We're actually sort of, what are we doing? We're scheming. We're scheming already.
Oh, schemers! You two are schemers, huh?
We're scheming to do something. But I just want you to know, though, that when it comes to streaming, I have been very sort of, I think I've been pretty consistent, even over the years. I'll say in the last 2 or 3 years, I've kind of cleaned up my act a little bit more. In other words, I'm not as loose on the microphone as I used to be. But when it comes to streaming, you know, it's very difficult to get all of that information, that sort of statistical information from each player that you're asking for, the type of cue, the type of tip, the diameters, the type of glove, whatever it is that they're playing.
Sure.
We sometimes hand out player bios for people, and we ask them to fill them out so that we have biographical information on people while we're streaming. But I consider that completely different from interviewing and maybe even broadcasting like what you're doing right now.
Sure.
So I consider that completely different. Those kind of like an apples and oranges situation. But what I wanted to say is that when it comes to the style of streaming that we do, okay, I want to make this really clear because a lot of people, they give us a lot of feedback on YouTube, and I really appreciate it. It's helped me over the years. But you have to realize we're a free live stream. We don't have all the information on everybody. We don't always work with the best, most cohesive team of people, like the owner of the venue, the tournament director at the time, the scheduling of the matches. Those are all really kind of open games sometimes. So when I do a live stream, my goal and my mission is to communicate the feeling of the moment, whether or not it's what that player is going through with his opponent, or what might be going on in the room with the spectators and how they feel about the match, the stage of the tournament that we're in, and how exciting that moment is, and whether or not it's a grudge match. Those are the things that I really find exciting about pool and billiards as well.
Yeah.
I find it more exciting than a lot of the statistical information. And, that's why you also might see me slacking off on things like score. And I'm too caught up.
Yeah, score is pretty important for a lot of people, Daniel.
Don't do it. Sometimes, one pocket match gets so good.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a minute, did I forget a ball? Or even in three cushion, if it's a full player and you're watching to see where he's going, what he's doing, or you're looking over to switch a camera, and there goes your score, there goes your ball.
Yeah. So you guys are also doing the score too?
Yeah, we do. We do everything. We have to do the score. We fill out the scoreboard so that your names are current.
Digitally.
It's all digital. We then before the match we might post it on AZ Billiards or Facebook, like this match is going on right now. There's a lot we have to do.
Okay, so you don't have, what I'm getting at is you don't have volunteers to say, guys, we need some help to keep the score up to date because we're doing 3 or 4 things at once. Would you mind, if we come up with a schedule, would you mind keeping electronic score? So that's done by you two as of.
Yeah, we don't. I don't ask a lot of people to do things because, frankly, we can't. Look, I personally believe that people should get paid for what they do, and so I feel very bad asking for volunteers. Some people have come forward and offered to help and stuff, but
because we don't want the liability or if something goes wrong with the equipment and they think it's all their fault, or we don't want it to be their fault, and all that goes with that.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
I mean, look, let's just put things in perspective a little bit. POVPOOL came around at a time when I was really trying to fill the void because pool was getting almost non-existent on television. I saw it happening with Justin Collett and Andy Chen and Doug Wu, a couple of guys that were streaming, Lenny Marshall, Fast Lenny, and On the Rail. Was it on the rail? Sorry, Lenny.
On, by, whatever the preposition.
I noticed that there was some extraordinary talent in Southern California and in California and on the West Coast. And, it was just that inspiration plus the inspiration from some other people in the industry that we were able to connect. So when Chris Swart called me in 2013 or 12 and said like, "Hey man, come and do the Chet Ito tournament," you know, I
Right.
was like, "Yeah," and that was the beginning of my relationship with Chris Swart. It might have even been 2011. I don't remember, but you know, but and it was thanks to things like that. And you know what? We used to. It's so funny. I used to be so critical of pool halls, venues, promoters. They didn't have any flyers, posters, or anything like that. And
Yeah.
so I would jump to it. I would be like, I'll design it for you. I'll do everything. You know, I just want it to look good for you, and I want the matches to be great, and you know, obviously you don't have to pay me extra. You know, that was another thing too, because I knew the budgets
Yeah.
were right.
Well, maybe that's a good shift into a different. You mentioned that you wanted to be proactive, the owners and the people, maybe for the tournament director, whatever, posters weren't being set up, flyers, things like that. Maybe that kind of segues into the next area, which is really the interest in pool and caroms in general. Now, I know pool and caroms are distinctly separate, so let's just talk pool for the sake of this conversation. For the most part, what do you, how do you two see pool going within the next 5 to 10 years? Do you see it going in the right direction? Is there going to be more streaming? Is there going to be bigger tournaments? How do you see it playing out?
You know, after April, uh, I'm very optimistic for at least the bigger tournament, the added money tournaments, and it's very hopeful that that pool on a bigger or professional, not bigger, but professional level will be growing. Right. Because pool's always been big, in my opinion. Whether professional pool has been big is another category, but right. The APA thrives and it does so well. And there's so many out there. You go to any bar or pool hall on a weekday, and you have tons of people playing.
Yeah, I mean, it's league pool in general, not just APA.
Yeah, not just APA.
League pool. Yeah.
So on a scale, on the bigger scale, pool's doing great on the amateur level, and I'm very hopeful that, you know, on the professional level, the higher skilled players will have more opportunities to showcase their talents and be able to be rewarded for it. And yeah, you know, as far as streaming is concerned, you see it everywhere where because of technology, anybody can stream. And that's the truth. You know, you could go down to the pool hall and take your phone and stream. Is it going to be the quality that, let's say, we present with the scoring and the commentary? No. But, you know, people now can give access to anybody in the world what's going on in their local pool hall. And, it's, you know, kind of what we're seeing.
Yes. No, matter of fact, I mentioned to Daniel earlier that I was watching a stream tournament. I want to say it was out in Vegas on bar boxes, and it happened to be one of the players here from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and he did exactly what you just said, Geraldine. I presume all he had was his smartphone, and he was videotaping the match that he had. It was very, the video was mediocre at best. And so, yeah, it makes a huge difference, but I hear what you're saying. Well, it sounds like you're very positive about it. You know, we could probably use another movie from Hollywood. You know, it's about that time. We go through these cycles in pool, and you know, if it's not The Hustler, then maybe it's The Color of Money. Hopefully something will come up, because that really is a shot in the arm, and we always can use that additional interest, especially among the younger people. because that's what I see is pool still, you still get some young people involved, but with caroms, it seems to be the older group.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
well, you concur, so.
well, I have this theory that I believe that pool and billiards is a microcosm of society, of the world, right? So
Yeah.
what's going on in the world, you see it translated into the pool halls in some weird way, right?
Right, sure.
You have two parents who are working, and so the child gets neglected. That sounds bad, but that's reality. We live in a capitalist society, and the child gets neglected. He watches TV when he gets home, or he plays video games, and that's kind of what's happening to the younger generations, right? So
Yes.
you see that pool and billiards, where if the parent does not bring their child into the pool room, into the billiard place to play or be exposed to it, the child doesn't necessarily pick it up, movie or no movie, for that matter.
Right.
No,
You're right.
We don't see pool tables and carom tables at home as much anymore either.
But even if it is, a child always looks up to their parents and always wants that affection and that attention from their parents. So whatever that may be. So if your father is a even mediocre pool player, you as a child, you look up to him and you want to be as good as he is, or you want to follow in his footsteps, or you want to make him proud of you. That goes through
Sure.
every child, right? So, a lot of what I noticed at one of our recent 3 Cushion events is there are certain communities, certain cultures that bring their children to the pool hall, bring them to the billiard parlor. And
I agree.
And you see that a lot with the Asian communities, and you see it a lot with the Latin communities, and you don't necessarily see that with the Caucasian communities. And so, you have this older guy that you see maybe in the US, Caucasian, and then you're seeing a younger crowd that's going to be Latino, that's going to be Turkish, it's going to be Korean, and that's because their family brings them into the pool hall, the billiard parlor.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. That's exactly what I see as the situation. Thank God for the Asian and Latino community as for 3 Cushion and even pool. Sometimes there's not as many younger people, but hopefully things will continue. Again, you guys feel real positive about it. I have mixed emotions, but being a big fan of pool and billiards, I certainly hope for the best. Well, time is going short, so a couple wrap-up questions, if I may. Let's do this one. I understand that, what are your next dates so we can promote them? When is your next pool streaming date? Where is it? And then also your next carom streaming date, if you would be kind to give me that information.
Well, this month I'm doing one of each. Tomorrow I'm going to set up cameras for the Hard Times Billiards monthly stream. I haven't been there since, what was it? January of this year. Yeah. And I always go back to Hard Times. In fact, that's the name of the show, is Back to Hard Times.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So I'll be doing Hard Times again, and I'll always go back to Hard Times, because to me that's just kind of like where it all started for.
Oh, of course.
And I just love the people there. So the players.
So Hard Times is when? What are the dates for Hard Times?
May 4th and 5th. Cinco de
Okay.
Mayo. Watching
Ah,
handball.
there you go. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
The day before is one pocket. It's one pocket the day before.
Oh, well, that
Yeah.
should be fun then.
Yeah.
Well, that's
And
great.
we're also getting ready. We're getting ready to go to Tucson, Arizona. May 27th through June 1st.
Oh,
We'll be
yeah.
streaming the Three Cushion USA's first major events, major championship events. It's called the Summer Shootout. It's $5,000 added, Three Cushion billiard tournament. So I want to thank Three Cushion USA for Mason Shooney and Three Cushion USA for letting us, giving us the opportunity to do this event. It'll be taking place at Casino del Sol. They're a great sponsor. They've been helping, really helping the Three Cushion scene in Arizona for the last 3-4 years. They've been really supportive.
Yeah,
So-
I think that's great. Nice venue.
Yeah.
Paul Frankel's got his Gabrielle tables.
Yeah.
Mason Shooney is it's part of his tour now. Great streamers with POV streaming, and so you can't. I don't think you can lose on that one. So, last question, the personal question. I don't know if you want to give me a drum roll or not, but here we go. You two are engaged. When you guys getting married?
Who told you, man? It's supposed to be a secret.
Secret about the engagement or secret about the marriage?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we got engaged.
I know. So when's the big date? Let me talk to the important person. No offense, Daniel. So Geraldine, when you guys getting married?
Not anytime soon.
Okay, I guess I could take that a few ways.
No, I mean, financially, we live in California, and it is expensive in LA. They have other priorities. And we've talked about, we want our friends and family, our pool friends included, to be a part of it. And so it's going to take some saving of money.
Sure. No, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand completely.
We wanted to do February 22nd, 2020. That way on the invites it would say 2/22/2020.
Yeah. Okay.
But who knows? It might be 2/22/22/22.
That's what I was just saying.
I don't know.
Well, hey, whatever the time is, it really isn't important. The fact that you guys love each other. The date will be whenever the date is. When you'll be ready to do that. And so I
just go to the courthouse.
Pardon me?
Her dad said we just to go to the courthouse. What do you think of that?
Well, it doesn't really matter what I think because it doesn't matter what I think, but I trust it's going to be the last marriage you have. So if neither one of you are necessarily into ceremonial stuff, and rituals are not necessarily high on your list, and you just want to do it from a legal perspective, then I think the courthouse is a good option for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's got different feelings, far be it from me. But I do want to say that I thank both of you very much for taking the time out to talk, to have a good conversation. And I hope to see you guys soon, or if I don't see you in person, I'll be watching one of your streams. And I want to thank you again, and the best of luck.
Thank you, and thank you for doing this, Steve. And I think it's a really good thing that you're doing. I mean, I saw your interview with Gilbert Najim. So if anybody's watching this interview, you guys should watch Steve's interview with Gilbert Najim as well. And I hope you do more. If I have anybody that wishes to be interviewed, you know, I think it'd be good if maybe we could get you involved with some of the youth programs that I'm aware of. If you want to talk to like Emma Lincolato or Steve Strange and talk about a little bit more about the youth in billiards, because that's really the future of pool these days.
I agree.
I mean, let's billiards included. It all starts with the youth. You know, I mean, let's face it. The only reason we are still passionate about this sport, and I know this is probably true of you, is that somewhere along the line you were indoctrinated at a young age to play this game.
Right.
And that's what's missing with today, is that it needs to be, we need more. You know, some people think the word indoctrination is a bad word, you know, like because of you know, conspiracy theories or whatever. But you know, the sport is not bad. You know, it's good to be indoctrinated with a sport like pool and billiards. You know?
I agree.
So,
and you guys are very helpful in indoctrinating others, and that's a good thing too. I will talk to you soon. We'll have to trade some ideas, and yeah, you two take care. Thanks a lot.
Take care and keep loving pool.
Okay. I will, and you too. Bye now. Thanks, Geraldine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
하지마 네가 그럴 때마다 미칠 것 같아 내 눈을 보며 살짝 웃어주면 달려가서 놀아버릴 것만 같아